Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. A bad spring for America, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Although many Americans don't know it, this country is getting battered. In the past few months, it has been one fiasco after another. It began with Vladimir Putin seizing the Crimea from Ukraine. Putin violated international law, and nobody did anything about it. The Russian tyrant humiliated the USA and Western Europe. Now, do Americans care about what happens in that area of the world? No, they don't. And President Obama knows it. Therefore, Putin got away with it. Number two, the VA scandal. Even though President Obama promised to improve medical services for vets, he has not. And even worse, the president did not pay attention to the issue. It took some whistleblowers in Phoenix to expose the Veterans Affairs Department as a corrupt entity. Hundreds of thousands of vets are not being given the care they deserve and were promised. The reason that happened again is because President Obama didn't pay attention to the issue and appointed an incompetent administrator, General Eric Shinseki, to run the VA. Same thing happened last fall when Kathleen Sebelius was exposed as an incompetent administrator in the rollout of Obamacare. So, two very important things, the VA and national health care rollout, were botched. It'll take years for the VA to improve. Years. Now, on to terrorism. The release of the 5 Taliban commanders and war criminals in return for the freedom of Sergeant Bo Bergdahl has given the terrorists a huge victory. Everybody knows that. By the way, we learned that Sergeant Bergdahl had to leave the Coast Guard because of some psychiatric problems. So he joined the Army and was sent to Afghanistan. Not a great situation. Anyway, that revelation actually helps the sergeant because he may not be fully responsible, someone who is in control of himself. If a soldier deserts and he or she is of sound mind, that's a lot worse than someone who's psychologically impaired. By the way, Sergeant Bergdahl will arrive back in the USA shortly. Now, at this point, I'm giving the sergeant the benefit of all doubts, and I think he and his family should largely be left alone. However, the swap for the Taliban definitely hurt America. But incredibly, Hillary Clinton does not seem to think so.
I think an awful lot of people think that we're less safe today than we were a week ago because these 5 guys are out.
These 5 guys are not a threat to the United States. They are a threat to the safety and security of Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's up to those 2 countries to make the decision once and for all that these are threats to them. So I think we may be kind of, missing the bigger picture here.
With all due respect to Mrs. Clinton, she is the one missing the bigger picture. The reason the USA is fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan is because they allied with al-Qaeda. And that deal directly led to the 9/11 attack. I'm certain Mrs. Clinton knows that. So why is she saying that 5 released Taliban commanders pose no threat to America? It's just inexplicable. So let me address the following remarks directly to Hillary Clinton. If the Taliban regain power in Afghanistan, al-Qaeda will regain its training grounds. And if that happens, it'll make it easier for al-Qaeda to attack the USA and other Western nations. Again, I'm sure Hillary Clinton understands that, so her statement is confusing to say the least. Now, the 2 latest debacles. The Iraq army's fallen apart, and the terrorists, al-Qaeda and its affiliates, are overrunning that country. The government of Iraq has asked President Obama to provide air power against the Iraq invaders. They're coming in from Syria. So far, the president has refused to do that. So we're now looking at a possible terrorist state, Iraq, run by al-Qaeda. Reports say the terrorists are about 40 miles away from Baghdad. That's a catastrophe. There's no question President Obama wanted to get out of Iraq totally when he should have left a small force of American special forces to prop up the Iraqi army. Now we're seeing the results of the president's decision to get out totally. To be fair, most Americans wanted out as well. But you can't run foreign policy based upon the whims of the public. After more than $1 trillion American dollars spent and nearly 4,500 U.S. dead military people, Iraq's going down the drain. And it's happening on President Obama's watch. Iraq is a huge miscalculation on the part of the administration. Listen to the vice president in 2010 and the president today.
I am very optimistic about Iraq. I think it's going to be one of the great achievements of this administration. You're going to see a stable government in Iraq that is actually moving toward a representative government.
What we've seen over the last couple of days indicates the degree to which Iraq's going to need more help. It's going to need more help from us, and it's going to need more help from the international community. So my team is working around the clock to identify how we can provide the most effective assistance to them.
And by the way, the president knew about the al-Qaeda threat months ago. Finally, the border, another disaster. Tens of thousands of children, many unaccompanied by an adult, streaming across the southern border because they believe if they can get here, they can stay here. And that's true. The federal government is now warehousing thousands of kids and some adults who are relatives. We're not sending them back home. But even worse, feds can't stop the influx of illegal aliens from the south. Weren't we told the border is secure? Weren't we told that? Wasn't that the basis to go forward with comprehensive immigration reform? The border's not secure. It's still chaotic, 13 years after 9/11. It's unbelievable. So let's review. Putin violates international law, gets away with it. VA betrays American vets. The president trades 5 Taliban war criminals for a suspected U.S. deserter, doesn't tell Congress. Iraq may fall to al-Qaeda, and the southern border completely out of control. Those are facts. No ideology involved with this analysis. It has indeed been a very harsh spring for America. It's a memo. Next on the rundown. Reaction from Andrea Tantaros and James Carville. Later, Laura. Continuing now with our lead story, a bad spring for America. Joining us from New Orleans, James Carville, and here in the studio, co-host of The Five, Andrea Tantaros. Did I miss anything? Or am I being unfair? I mean, I know you don't like President Obama, but let's take ideology out of this. I mean, I want to do a fact thing here. Those are facts, right?
No, they are facts. No, that was a very good memo. You know, I can understand, Bill, when the White House tried to spin the recovery summer. I can understand that they're trying to spin the Obamacare situation. What I don't understand is when you have dead veterans, you move past a point where you can say, as the president recently said, that we're okay, that we're doing okay. I don't understand. I think he just, I know he finds out from scandals from the newspapers. I think that he doesn't have anybody surrounding him to tell him, look, even if that's how you feel, you can't say those things because the polls show that people don't feel that way. They think we're headed in the wrong direction.
Now, but Carville was in the White House, and this is good, Carville. You were there. You were an advisor. Look, you have now a president who, every time he's looking around, these are big problems. They're not a little picayune stuff. This is big. Iraq may fall. All right, it may go down, and he isn't going to give air power, or hasn't, and he's known about it for 4 months, according to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation report. So, is he getting bad advice, or is he just in over his head, Carville?
Well, I don't. Well, first of all, remember, the VA thing, I think, is a very legitimate issue to bring up with him. You didn't mention the fact that the deficit is shrinking faster than it has since World War II.
All right, but look, I mean, we're dealing with immediate problems here that have urgency.
The other thing is, we're not going back into Iraq. We were there for 8 years, and if that government is unable to protect that country, then if we can get the Turks in, the Saudis in, the other people there,
they're not going to put. I agree with you. They're not putting it on the ground.
It's not just going to be the U.S.
They could use air power in there to get these al-Qaeda's assembling. But wait a minute, Carville. Just listen to what you just said. Just listen to what you just said. All right, we're not going back to Iraq. Okay. No. So say the al-Qaeda's take it. All right. So now the al-Qaeda's have a country, an entire country, with oil, with armaments, with everything. Carville, don't you understand how bad that is for the United States?
I understand, And I think that we have to, as a regional solution, the United States is not going to go in like a cowboy shooting this thing up. The Turks have a stake in this. The Saudis have a stake in this. A lot of people in the region have a stake in this. We have tried this cowboy diplomacy in 2003, and that's why this thing is busted up.
He should have left a small residual force. Now, look. President Obama now faces the collapse of his administration, and I'm not overstating that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he does. The administration is now tottering on the verge of collapse in public opinion anyway. Do you believe that he's got to do something? I mean, he came out today and said he might do something in Iraq. He's got to do something.
But, Bill, I don't think he thinks anything's really wrong.
I don't believe that, Andrew. I know, now he knows.
Well,
he's got to
with the immigration issue.
Thousands of kids on the border. He doesn't think they're wrong.
Bill, his goal is to grow the size of government. His goal is to get more Democratic voters. He doesn't see this as a problem. He doesn't.
I don't believe that. I don't believe you have tens of thousands of kids wandering around.
I do not think this president is in touch with how bad things are, and he feels he's getting his way. And let me tell you something. James Carville advised Bill Clinton very wisely. President Obama doesn't have a James Carville in the White House, who's saying at least pretend like you feel.
She's being nice to you, Carville. I thought you were a pinhead back then.
His average approval is like at 45 now. That's hardly a collapse.
Oh, baloney. His approval's below 40. Don't give me any of that crap.
You can go to the average.
You take the real clear average, and it's 40 and below. But wait a minute. What about these kids on the border, Carville? What about this?
We've always had border. Look, the rate of illegal immigration in this country is down.
I mean, it's tens of thousands of kids wandering around down there now.
What now? I mean, you can't. We always have problems as a nation.
Oh, geez.
But I guarantee you, immigration is less a problem today than it was in 2005.
James, you sound different. Hillary Clinton just a couple weeks ago said she was deeply concerned with the direction of the country. Do you agree with Hillary?
Look, I'm concerned that income growth is not what it needs to be. I'm concerned about the VA scandal. I mean, I'm concerned about things. There's always something wrong. There's always something to be concerned about.
President Obama isn't.
But you can't.
He's not. He said he's satisfied and happy with the direction of the country.
Excuse me for speaking.
Go ahead, Carville.
Look at the health care. Look at the rate of uninsured that is declining. Look how this thing is working. I mean, some things are going right, some things are going wrong. I think the VA thing is going terribly, and I think it's a very fair thing to criticize.
I got one word for you, and you need to go out and take a walk.
Okay.
All right? Crisis. There are two crises right now. Crises. Iraq and the southern border.
Yeah.
Those aren't paper things. Those are real human being things.
Yeah, I agree. But they're always crises.
All right,
That's my point.
Last word real quick.
They don't get it.
Okay.
They don't get it.
All right, there you go. All right.
There's nothing more for me to say.
Carville, thank you. Directly ahead, we'll take you down south.